Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AM/PM podcast. My name is Manny Coates, and I will be your host, and this is the show where we discuss all things Amazon private label and how to generate recurring revenue streams 24 hours per day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show. Get it? AM/PM podcast. As a matter of fact, I just had a big debate with Guillermo over which is better, the PC or the Mac. And while we were debating, I was making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody. I am here with Greg Alper. Greg, how are you doing?
Awesome.
Glad to have you on the show. Greg, you're from Delray Beach, Florida, and you started doing private label back in 2009. For my notes here, and that was traditional e-commerce, but you started on Amazon in 2016, and your last month, correct me if I'm wrong, was your best month so far. You hit $73,000 in sales?
That is correct, and I actually had a number of ASINs that were out of stock that month as well.
You stocked out. How many total ASINs do you have that make up that number?
Right now, I have 45, but at any given time, I'm still battling stockouts, and I may have between 6 to 10 out of stock at any given time.
6 to 10. Okay. Were the ones that were out of stock some of your best sellers?
No.
Okay. All right. So
I learned that lesson early on.
Cool. So, well, that's pretty impressive. So basically, what month in 2016?
I started in May.
May. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So just over a year, essentially, since you've been doing that. All right. Cool. What made you decide to jump into this business?
I had left another company I had worked with since 2008, and I was looking for something to do. The other company was traditional e-commerce, and that's how I got started in private label. And I was at a retail convention about 2 years ago, and one of the speakers opened up with 45% of new purchases online start with a search on Amazon.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, that number's dated now too. I think it's in the 60 to 70% range now.
Let me go back to that number, 73,000 in sales in a single month. What would be your profit margin on that after all expenses, including advertising costs, typical refunds, Amazon fees, things like that?
After all of that, and I also factor in any tools I use, such as Helium 10 or forecasting tools, stuff like that, I sit at between 30 to 32%.
Wow. Okay, that's really good. All right.
Yeah.
What do you mind saying what category you're in?
I'd rather not. I'd rather not.
No worries. Are you selling in the U.S. only, or are you selling in various countries?
It's U.S. only.
U.S. only. Okay.
I mean, I have some listings in Canada, but you're talking like maybe $500-600 a month. It's nothing.
It's small, right? What would be? Are you planning to get into other countries?
I am. It's just I want to not have any stockouts in the U.S. before I throw in the complication of sending stuff to FBA Canada and FBA Europe and stuff like that.
So it's a scaling thing. Would it be? Is it a money thing essentially?
No, it's not a money thing. It's just one of those things where I feel that FBA is just too good to be true, and I don't want to go dump $100,000-200,000 in inventory and be stuck with it. As in an account gets closed down or Amazon completely changes the way they do something. So that's where I'm at with that.
Are you the mindset of one account is all you need, or do you believe in having multiple Amazon accounts?
I actually do have two.
Okay.
There's two completely different companies that I run, and they're both private label.
Okay. Both did you go the typical route of just contacting Amazon and saying, hey, I've got two separate companies, or do you just say, hey, you know what, there's totally separate, different computers, different everything, I'm not even going to mention anything?
Yeah, so I actually got an email last week from Amazon saying, we've identified you have two accounts from your computer and let us know why. I haven't heard anything from them since then. I'm hoping my saving grace is I actually have email correspondence from someone on they have these various teams when they're trying to hit a category hard and they go out and they recruit people that aren't selling on Amazon. Okay. And I have some emails that I exchanged last year when I set this account up, and when I set the second account up as well, where the guy's like, okay, that's two separate companies, two separate ownership structures, and you're selling two different, while you're in the same category, you're selling completely different products within the two categories. You need two accounts.
Okay.
And he set me up with two accounts.
Okay. All right. So you're in the same category on both accounts.
Yes.
Okay. Just different products. All right. That makes sense. So, and did you separate them on purpose for some kind of an exit, or what was the mindset there?
Well, I started the company we're talking about now, which did 73,000 in sales last month. I started that company on my own, and then in July of last year, I had talked with a longtime friend, business associate, and he was looking to start up another company. And I started up that company with him, and while it's in the same industry, it's completely separate, completely different products from what I do now. And that second company, we sell on Amazon, but the majority of our sales come from our Shopify store. So,
Okay.
it's interesting to see, because you have some struggles with the Amazon, with the solely Amazon company, and then you have some struggles with the company that's doing primarily on Shopify.
Okay. So one company primarily on Shopify. The other company, what percentage would be Shopify?
About 75% is 75 to 80% is on Shopify, and 20% is on Amazon.
On the second company?
Yes.
And then on the other company, almost all of it is Shopify?
No. So the second company's 80% Shopify, 20% Amazon, and the other one's pretty much 100% Amazon. I do a little bit on eBay, but eBay's maybe $2,000-$3,000 a month, if that.
Gotcha. All right. What do you? Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the Amazon only, or majority being on Shopify?
From a fulfillment standpoint, because for the second company that's ran on Shopify, my associate has a warehouse that with 15 employees where they ship customer orders out of. When it comes to fulfillment, hands down, I mean, you can't beat FBA.
Yeah. So
if something's damaged in transit or anything like that, they cover it. But you have more freedom with the Shopify store. Mm-hmm. You're able to track more if you're driving traffic from Facebook, which is huge. I mean, with that company, we're spending $20,000 to $25,000 a month in Facebook ads. You're able to easily see which ad, what creative is working and what's not working. Whereas doing it with Amazon, you really can't. You can track clicks, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's a little bit tougher. Would you say one is more profitable than the other in terms? Well, actually, let me back up. Would you say that the advertising is more effective driving to a Shopify store with all the tracking and everything that you can do versus using Amazon's native advertising, sponsored ads, AMS, that kind of stuff?
I would say that, I mean, hands down, the company that's solely on Amazon now is more profitable.
Really? Okay, cool. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So now that you have these two companies and you have one that's yours, are you working this business, the new one, alone? Is it just you?
Yes.
All right. No outsourced people, VAs, anything like that?
No. And I've looked at what I'm spending my time doing and trying to figure out if I need to hire a VA for the Amazon only company, and there's just nothing I can give to a VA. I get maybe, if I get 10 messages in a week from customers, that's a lot.
Okay, got you. How many hours would you say you spend a day on your business now?
A day?
Yeah.
Probably an hour and a half to 2 hours.
That's it? All right.
Yeah.
So you get a full 8 hours sleep?
Yeah. Some nights. Some nights.
All right. An hour to 2 hours. 2 hours. That's great. I mean, that's what I would like to strive for myself personally. So you're my hero right now. I got to get my hours down for sure.
Most of the time.
How do you do it? How do you keep it so low?
How do I keep it so low? So, I mean, to start off, I don't really have that many customer emails. Like I said, I'll get maybe 1-2 a day. And then most of my time is spent researching new product. And then when I bring new product in to create the listings, figure out which keywords I'm going to target, and drop them in so I can track the keyword ranks and everything, and then set up the PPC campaigns.
Okay. Now, you have a lot of ASINs. You had mentioned just over, what was it, $73,000 in sales, 30% roughly margin. So for a couple hours a day, you're generating just over $20,000 in profit. I think that's massive for a lot of people. Like, wow, that's kind of like the dream. How much money did you actually start with to get this business going?
Started with $2,000.
2,000. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you turn 2,000 into the empire you're building now?
It was, I started off with about 4 SKUs and that $2,000. When that was gone, I think the next order I placed after that with the supplier was 8,000. And then I had a couple orders in there, 15, 16,000 in parts. And then at that point, I went and started diving into the 5, 6 SKUs that I have right now, and trying to see what sells, and how is it selling. And what I found is a lot of the products people were buying in quantities of 4, quantities of 6. And then I pretty much took those and made variations and offered 4-packs, 6-packs, and single packs depending on the ASIN. And that was able to not only increase sales, but it was able to increase profitability too, because the FBA fees are less on the 4-pack than someone orders 4 singles.
Right.
And
that's a really good point, by the way. I'd love for you to expand on that. If somebody's new saying, I don't get it, why would it be cheaper to have a 4-pack with 4 times, the same amount of product that you have with 4 singles? Can you explain that to them?
Yeah, so most of my ASINs fall in that 1 pound standard size item range. So you're looking at, I think right now it's $2.99 to fulfill the item. And the item might weigh a pound, but then if you put 4 of them together, let's say you're at 4 pounds, Amazon is going to charge you less than 4 times $2.99 to fulfill that. It's probably going to be in the $5 range.
It's like, well, you know what? If we have a single unit and it's costing, the total FBA fees are $4 or let's say $5, and we can add another one in there and it only goes up another $1.
Yep.
And then we can actually make another $5 or $6 profit on that by adding a second one in there. Why not do it? Why not offer it? Seems smart.
Exactly.
So I didn't mean to cut you off. You were telling a story there, but I thought that was an important point.
Oh, no problem. I'll go back into. So I gradually increased my orders with that supplier, and right around to the point where I got to pretty much ordering about $15,000 in product from him. I was maybe at 5, 6 ASINs. And at that point, I had confidence in this supplier. I had vetted this supplier, trusted him. I said, hey, send me a catalog of everything else you have, and send me what's popular, what you guys are making a lot of. And he sent me that catalog, and next thing you know, I would order 5 new items, maybe 20 of each, after doing research, and all 5 would be a hit. So I would then place an order of, 200-300 units. And then after that order, I would go back and say, okay, give me another 10 items that are hot. I'd go research the 10 items. I'd have confidence in 5 of them or 6 of them. I'd reorder what I've been getting, and I'd order 20 to 30 of the 6 that I have confidence in. And what that gradually, over time, transformed into 45 ASINs, and I'm still to this day doing that with the supplier. Except I've kind of accelerated a little bit more now, where I'm not buying 20 units from him initially. I might buy 50 to 100, because I have that confidence, and at the same time, I have that cash flow from the profit that's coming in to go out there and experiment with new ASINs.
Okay. Are you purchasing what's your largest volume? How many units do you purchase at one time, the biggest one? Of any ASIN?
About 1,000 units.
1,000 units. Okay, so you're not ordering it in containers at this point, not yet. Is that right?
No, not yet.
Okay. Are they small items? Pretty small, or are they big?
They're
Big
they're
and light?
they're small, probably about that big.
Okay, cool. So as you started expanding and doing all this, have you had to go out and seek any kind of outside funding at this point, or has it all been self-funded?
It's all been self-funded. I just, for kicks, like 2 weeks ago, I just took Amazon's initial $8,000 lending offer.
Yeah.
I just took that for kicks just to see what they'll offer me next. I'll probably pay that back to them in a month, and just to build up credit with them. But
Yeah. Smart.
other than that, I mean, I had savings that I was able to use to scale the company.
The suppliers that you're dealing with, are they in the U.S. or are they in China or other places? So you said they're all in China right now?
Yes, it's 3 main suppliers I do business with.
What are you doing to build a really strong relationship with your suppliers that maybe a lot of new people might not be doing?
I guess the one thing that really sticks out is just forming that personal relationship with them, asking them about this or that in China, depending on whatever their hobbies are. I mean, one of my suppliers is like really big into cars, so when I talk to him about cars, I'll talk to him about like what kind of cars you have in China, how much does this car cost, how much does that car cost in China, and stuff like that. And kind of building that rapport and that relationship with the supplier. And I mean, nothing's going to build that relationship more than going out there and visiting them.
Correct.
Which I just got back from visiting my main supplier, which was just unbelievable.
What was unbelievable about it? What did you like?
It was my first time to China, so it was a little bit of a culture shock. I've been to third world countries in Africa, and I was more shocked going to China than I was there.
Yeah.
Just the food, the culture, just everything in general.
Yeah.
But seeing, I went to several factories and just seeing how much manual work is involved in everything. It was unbelievable. And
Okay.
to have a supplier pretty much pay for everything while you're there was just amazing. I couldn't believe the guy did that.
Did you learn anything that you weren't expecting while being at the factory itself?
Yes, I learned that not every single component in the parts they make. There are some components that they source from other vendors, and then there's components they make, and obviously they're doing the final assembly there.
What ended up happening with your relationship? I mean, what changes once you go and you visit and you can shake hands and have dinner and a drink with the factory owners? What kind of dynamic changes there based on what you had before you actually went to China?
I want to say that they're just bending over backwards and doing whatever they can for me now, to accommodate me, from stepping up their quality control to increasing the credit terms that they're offering me, to just everything.
What kind of credit terms did you have before and what do you have now?
So typically my orders take about 30 days for them to make, which is standard for overseas. So I have 25 days from the time they ship the order to pay them. That is actually going to increase to 45 days.
Do you have to put a deposit down initially?
No.
No. Okay. How did you negotiate that? I'm very curious.
It was a slow game. I started, and obviously initially I was doing the whole 30% down when I placed the order, and then 70% when it ships. And then I eventually got him to take nothing down, and then I was doing 100% when it ships. And then from there, I worked at that level for a little bit while the orders scaled up. And I told him it was hurting my business, that having to wait, having to sit on that money essentially and wait for the items to arrive and then to sell, that I would be able to give you more business, and both of our businesses would grow a lot faster if you could provide me with 30 days is what I shot for at first, 30 days from time of shipment. and he came back to me and said, we can give you 25.
Are you shipping it by sea or by air?
A mix. I do a couple ocean freight shipments, and I'm still doing air, but when you get those $4,500 air freight bills, it's not a good feeling.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, by the time it gets here, if you're doing it by sea, that's about the time when you're paying for the invoice. So you've got a little bit of a leeway. If it takes roughly 3-4 weeks for it to get here, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. It's 12 days, about 12 to 14 to California, and then unfortunately, all my stuff's got to go to an East Coast Amazon warehouse.
Okay. Wow. That's a really cool negotiation that you worked out with them. So many people are, including myself. I haven't gotten to the point where I get terms after everything arrives here. Maybe they're just, I don't know. I think maybe meeting them in person, face to face, really does have massive value, and I've heard that so many times. So that's fantastic. What percentage of your business, or let me back up, how much has advertising on Amazon, the Amazon business that you have, not the other business, has it played in the growth of your business, if any at all?
It's definitely helped, especially when I'm launching new products. Mm-hmm. Like last month, for instance, I think I looked at Amazon PPC, and it was accounting for about 17,000, 18,000 in sales. So it's definitely, that's what is that, a little less than a third of sales.
Yeah, and you have decent ACOS on there, ACOS?
Yeah, about 6%.
Wow, okay, that's really good. Are you doing all your PPC yourself, or do you outsource that?
I have been doing it myself. This past month, I got a software program, but I'm evaluating it this month. I don't think it's gonna be worth it though, because the cost of it is almost as much as what I'm spending on advertising.
Okay. You had mentioned off camera, you had said that you have a Post-it note beside your computer, and you do some stuff with that. What do you do there?
So I have a Post-it note next to my computer screen, and I write a monthly sales goal on it. And that goal, that Post-it note started with 20,000. Mm-hmm. And I hit that, so there's a line through it. And then there was 30. And then there was 50. And then there was 70. And then there's 90. So the 70 has been crossed off, and,
nice.
And the 90 is still there, and the 100 is still there.
So it's just a reminder. It's in your face every single day. What has been your biggest challenge so far in this business?
My biggest challenge has just been, obviously there's keeping inventory in stock and forecasting. That's definitely going to be the biggest issue that I've ran into. Like I said earlier, the reason I didn't dive headfirst into it is because it just seems too good to be true.
Yeah, it's working out. You've got some really good numbers. I got to say, your metrics, your profit margins, your ACOS, everything seems to be dialed in really nicely. So whatever product you have and whatever you're doing, just keep scaling. That's pretty good. What has been one of your biggest wins? Does anything jump to mind?
To be honest with you, one of my biggest wins was probably about a month ago. So one of the initial products that I started with, for almost a year, I had no competitors. I had like one or two competitors, and I had a competitor pop up maybe about a month and a half ago.
When you go out and you find these new products, what do you use? What's a typical launch strategy for you? How do you get things going?
Once I have the listings up and everything, PPC. I use some tools out there to look at what competitors' products are ranking for what keywords, and I'll just bid real heavy on those keywords. Mm-hmm. And initially, what I'll probably do is I'll start with my price either equal to theirs or slightly lower. And if it's lower, once I get a couple reviews, I'll match them or go a little bit higher depending on the quality of their pictures, and how exactly their item compares to mine, whether it's a warranty period or accessories that are included or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then the early review program is actually helped. I know you talked about that a couple podcasts ago.
Yeah.
And now I get like an email like a couple times a week. You've been charged $60. You've been charged $60.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's definitely helping to gather some reviews on some new items.
Do you do anything outside of the early review program to generate reviews on a new product?
No.
No, just that, just organically, just letting them come in. So you run pay-per-click. What kind of budget do you set, and what kind of what's the PPC amount for that particular keyword, roughly?
So a lot of my keywords go for between 25 to 50 cents.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you're bidding?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty low actually. So that's good.
Yeah.
And you're getting, and that's out bidding your competitors for this niche.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Great.
And there's just, I mean, on some of these campaigns, I'll have $10 daily budgets, and there's not enough volume in those search terms to even hit that $10 a day.
So one product, one new ASIN, is it typically one campaign, or do you open up multiple campaigns for it?
I'll do an auto campaign, and then I'll do some exact match and phrase match. Broad match, I honestly haven't really even been doing anymore. It's been almost like a waste for me.
What are your goals? I know you've got your Post-it note, right? You've got some marks up. I see you got 90 and 100 on there. What would be some of your business goals?
100,000 a month is a goal right now.
Okay.
I turn 30 next year, so I'd like to be generating $1 million a year with a company.
To get that six-figure monthly, to be able to say I'm doing 6 figures a month, so that's kind of a cool thing too. All right, final question, and this one's going to be, we're going to go a little sciencey on this one. If you could go back in time to when you first started this and talk to yourself, what would be the advice you would give to yourself?
Order more sooner.
Order more sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you started, let's break that down a little bit. When you first started out, you're saying you just didn't order enough and you stocked out?
Yes, and when I was placing $15,000 orders, I probably should have been placing $25,000 or $30,000 orders.
Okay. And for somebody that doesn't have the kinds of funds available, would you recommend they go out and get that money somehow?
If your business is definitely trending upwards, like mine has, yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Cool. Any final words? Anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to mention?
No, I don't have anything else.
Cool. Well, this has been a great interview. You dropped a lot of nuggets in this one. So I want to thank you for coming on the show. We'll have this in our FBA High Rollers group as well. We'll tag you. So if anybody has questions, are they more than welcome to reach out to you there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, awesome. Greg, well, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for having me, Manny.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the AM/PM podcast hosted by Manny Coates. For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.